Well, Tim Harris was the district attorney here in Tulsa County for 16 years and handled how many death penalty cases?
10.
10 death penalty cases and numerous murder cases during that time,
Yes.
of course. So we asked Tim to be here to tell us a little bit more about some of the things that we might not understand about how these cases work.
Yes.
So even though David Ware's attorney has argued during this past week that the reason he shot the officers was because he was in fear for his life, the judge said today the jury is not allowed to consider self-defense as as an option. So how does that kind of work?
Well, he kind of brought a gun to the gunfight, right? I mean, he had the gun secluded underneath the seat of the car with the drugs. When he got stopped, he was resistant to get out of the car. He's a two-time convicted felon. He knew that if they searched the car upon tow, the gun would be found. He's possession of a firearm after former conviction of a felony. Plus, he's possession with weights and money and intent to distribute. He's looking at doing some serious time in the penitentiary, and I think that probably was his motivation.
And is it also a factor that he's the one who pulled a lethal weapon when the video shows neither of the officers pulled a lethal weapon?
You know, he was trying to claim self-defense, but they weren't using lethal weapons against him, so you have to have a fear of great bodily harm or death.
Okay.
As much as a person might not want to get tased or get OC spray in the face, it isn't going to kill you, okay? And everybody knows it's less lethal forms of trying to get somebody under control, and that wasn't enough for him. And finally, in the fray, he decided to grab his semi-automatic weapon and fire it 8 times. And poor, Sergeant Johnson lost his life, and Zark nearly did.
Right. So another thing the judge ruled today is they can't consider a lesser charge. It's going to be murder. He's guilty of murder or not guilty. So why sometimes do courts allow a lesser charge, or what kind of role does that play?
Well, I actually looked at the argument during the lunch hour when the attorneys were arguing this, and it's really the case law, a lesser included. They wanted manslaughter, but in manslaughter it has to be a heat of passion with no intent to kill. The judge thought, with the way the evidence came forth, it's either murder with malice aforethought with intent to kill or nothing. And so if you didn't have that set of circumstances and facts, you could get a lesser included, but the facts and the sworn testimony didn't prove that out. And so I think he made the right legal decision, a tough legal decision, but based on the evidence and the facts, I think he did it the right way.
So real quickly, I think people find this interesting. Why can't the jury go home after they start their deliberations? Like, we'll start for a while, we'll come back Monday. So why doesn't it work that way here?
Once they come into deliberation, they're supposed to be free from any outside influence whatsoever. If you were to send them home, hey, how did it go today, from their spouse or their significant other or their kids? Hey, tell me about what you did today, or, I saw you on TV, or, I listened to part of the arguments and I heard this and that and the other thing. No, we want them secluded. We don't want any outside influence. We want them to decide on what they heard in court, the evidence that came in, the arguments of counsel, and certainly the jury instructions, which is all the Oklahoma law that they're to follow. And so to make sure that people get due process of law and it's done as fairly and impartially as possible, you don't want that jury affected by anything on the outside world.
Okay. All right, Tim Harris, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to have Tim back here at 5 and 6 to talk about more of some of these legal issues. And as soon as there is a verdict in this case, of course, we will let you know on TV, on our app, our website, and our Facebook pages.